So, good evening, Dr. Razavi. It's a pleasure to be introduced to you and have this meet with you today. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to our students. Dr. Razavi is the Program Director of the Masters of Science and Business Analytics program in the College of Business Administration at Kent State University. He has published more than 70 papers in scholarly journals and conferences. He is also an inventor and co-inventor of 30 patent applications in US, Europe, and Asia. He has received his MSc and PhD from the University of Essex in UK. Prior to joining Kent State University, before that, he was a senior scientist in the Advanced Analytics Department at SAP, where he was leading a team of software developers and involved in designing SAP Predictive Analytics software suite. Dr. Razavi has also served as a research scientist at Bell Labs for several years, where he has received the Bell Labs Golden Pen Award in 2012. So without any delay, I would like to welcome Dr. Razavi onto the show. Welcome, sir. And I'm very thankful to you for taking out your time for today. I wanted to start by asking you about what is a Master's in Science and Business Analytics degree, and how is it different from an MBA degree?
Right. So first of all, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to you, depending on where you're located. So it's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for the kind introduction. I really appreciate that. To your question, what is the Master of Science in Business Analytics and how is different from the MBA? Master of Science in Business Analytics, or MSBA program, is also offered by the College of Business Administration at Kent State University. It's the same as MBA. The difference is that, as the name implies, the MSBA program is focused on applications of analytics and algorithms to solve various business problems. Over the past years, we have seen massive adoption of data storage and data platforms, and more different businesses are trying to harvest value from those data that they have stored historically over the years. The Master in Business Analytics program is designed to equip a student with the knowledge and skill set that is required for them to gain insight from this data and be able to make strategic business decisions. Obviously, some components of analytics is also integrated in our MBA program as well. The MBA program is more on the management side, whereas the MSBA program is more focused on the specific applications of analytics. So by the end of the program, student will be able to feel comfortable in terms of both the knowledge and the hands-on skills to work in various fields related to business analytics and data analytics. And possible job titles includes data scientists, data analysts, quantitative modelers. And as you may know, the field of analytics have grown significantly over the past few years. One of the major issues that we had was that there is a significant shortage of skill currently in the US, Europe, and worldwide generally in the area of analytics. And reason for that is because we are trying to find people who are describe them as the unicorns of the job market. Someone who has a good understanding of basic statistic, somebody who has good understanding of the business domain, and someone who has a good understanding and skill to implement the algorithm in code and be able to work with the data. Traditionally, these were not coming from one single academic discipline. So you had computer science folks, you had business folks, you have people from business degrees. The MSBA program tries to equip students with all what is required for them to be successful in area of analytics. So the mindset in designing the program has been very much in line with what industry needs and how they can be successful in finding job after graduation.
So I guess I'd like to follow that up with what kind of background requirements does make a student eligible for a Master's of Science in Business Analytics?
Yeah, and that is a very relevant question. So a lot of students are asking us, business analytics on its own is a very multidisciplinary field, right? Because it's applicable to many different domains. Same way as students are asking us, what can we do, in what sector can we work after graduation, after graduating from this program? And I tell them this, my own story. I mean, I graduated, with a PhD in computer science. After a few years working in area of machine learning, I was serving as a director in Commonwealth Bank of Australia, managing a team of data scientists without even being having a financial education or being in a banking system. Reason is because the concepts that you learn is applicable to so many different disciplines and domains. And as such, we also attract a student from many different domains and disciplines as well. What we are looking in terms of what a student need to have is the interest and curiosity to work with the data and learn from the data, and also a combination of some level of skills in terms of implementing their ideas into code. We assume students do not have any background in coding or working with databases, but the interest to learn some of the basic technique throughout the program is needed. So the assumption is that you don't know coming to the program, but we are hoping that you're interested in learning those as throughout the program, because the program is very hands-on. The intention is to make students successful for the job market. We have a student from computer science, we have a student from engineering background, we have a student from business background, we have a student from other sciences as well, so hardcore science such as physics, chemistry. If you had some, exposure to quantitative subjects in your undergraduate, such as basic statistics, basic mathematics, apply the statistics, some basic interest in terms of computer literacy. I wouldn't say coding, I would say computer literacy. Generally, if you're comfortable with working with computers and you have the interest to learn some basic codings and working with databases as well, that should basically tick the boxes in terms of the profile that we are looking for. Some students come to the program with prior work experience. Work experience is not required for this program, but if you have, it can be helpful. The program is diverse, and this diversity actually helps the student to learn from their peers as well. So there are generally two ways that you learn. One is, obviously, we try to have expert in the domain as the instructors going to the classes, but at the same time, because of the diversity of the class, the student can learn from their peers as well. So if we have a student coming from CS and then a student coming from a different perspective, coming from the business domain, through working together in group projects and things like that, they will learn a lot from each other as well. So I think I've answered your question in terms of what are the profiles. It's very diverse as long as you have some exposure to some quantitative courses and willingness to learn what you are lacking.
In this regard, in fact, I would like to ask you, how can one pursue a master's in science and master's of science in business analytics if they come from a versatile or a different educational background from what you mentioned in your answer previously?
Yeah, and we have had that scenarios as well. To be honest with you, it was 2 years ago. We had a very smart student. She was actually from India. She was a dentist living in Columbus, Ohio, and she wanted a complete change of career. And she applied to the program. At the beginning, obviously, based on the content that we are offering in our master, we saw that there are some courses that she needed to take. So we offered her admission to the program. She had to take 2 additional prerequisite. And when I'm referring to this as prerequisite, it doesn't need to be completed prior to the program. So you can join the program. Meanwhile, you are completing the first semester, you are taking some additional courses that you are missing. For her, there were courses on basic statistics and computer programming, basic applications of computer. And she ended up being the second top student in the program. She is now working as a full stack data scientist in Columbus. So we have had those scenarios like that. If the students are coming from a very different background, such like, for example, dentistry, they can take some prerequisite. And then we have seen examples that if you want to basically succeed, the resources are going to be there to help you. We try to keep the size of the program relatively limited, so that student get this necessary support throughout the program from the faculty as well. So to summarize my answer, I would say that if they are coming from a very different background, there might be some prerequisite additional, probably 1 or 2 courses in addition to the core courses that they need to take in order to progress in the program.
Okay. And in a fast developing world like today, what would be the scope and applicability of Masters of Science in Business Analytics in the world today? How do you think it's going to expand in the future?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So as I said before, we have seen massive growth of business analytics over the past decade. So the term big data was coined in 2012. And now you can see that every company, every single industry, small or big, is now trying to basically get into this space. There was a statistics I was reading, there was a survey by McKinsey asking Fortune 500 companies in terms of their plan into growth, and in different areas. Analytics was one of the areas with the biggest growth potential for many of these companies. And I thought, okay, so these are big companies, they have a lot of data, so that makes sense. But then again, the second part of the report was talking about, like, what is the plan with SMEs, small and medium enterprises? And you could see that even those players, in order to still become competitive in the market, now they're moving to this area of analytics as well. Analytics is an area that enables companies to make informed decisions based on data. Without data, every decision that you make is based on gut feeling, and everybody knows that this is going to be one of the key sort of competitive advantage, regardless of the domain. Historically, we had some domains that were using analytics like the bread and butter, like, for example, banking, insurances, all of those. They have been traditionally using analytics methods, but now you can see that there's almost impossible to name a domain or discipline that is not using analytics. The major issue in the US currently is the shortage of people with the right skill sets. And that's why, the basic, principles of economic supply and demand, the salaries for analytics professionals are so high because of the shortage of the skill. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this before, but we have had very high job placement records for our program over the past few years. Even during the COVID, most of our students could get jobs, and most of them, they require sponsorship, which is more difficult compared to domestic student. But for example, in the College of Business Administration, MS in Business Analytics graduates, they have by far the highest starting salary, and they have by far the highest job placement rates as well. Main reason again is because this is the area that industry is looking for, but it's also very important to see what is being offered by the institute. So in our program, we did our best to align what the industry needs and what we are offering as a university. So my message to students, regardless of whether they want to choose Kent or any other institute, is to do a good research on what is it that the program is offering, and is it in line with the needs of the industry now? And this field, as you mentioned, is rapidly changing. So talking about what is it now and how is it going to be the future, we launched our program in 2016, and we have already revised the curriculum twice. The whole courses have been and we started completely from scratch. Some other institute, they are offering courses they have been statistic courses. These courses, they existed from the past. So, repackaging courses and offering it as a new program because the area is hot or is in demand may not be the best for the interest of students. So my message to students is that regardless of what program they want to choose, they need to do their research in terms of, is this program in line with the needs of industry? How the industry is going to change over the next 5 years? Because if you graduate now, in 5 years' time, things are going to change. Is this program is going to equip me with the knowledge and skill set so that I can be a lifetime learner over the years as well or not? So these are the things that we are looking into. As I said, the program has already revised twice, and we are going to do this as we go in terms of our plan for future expansion of the program, and is that we are getting new faculties, albeit extensive industry expertise. So this fall we are going to have one more faculty joining us, who is a senior data scientist. He's coming from Australia. He has been working in banking system in Australia as well. So it's a very exciting time for me and for many to be in the area of analytics.
Definitely. Can you tell us more about Masters of Science in Business Analytics at Kent State University? What are its current rankings and how has the course been structured and formulated at present?
Yeah, sure. That's absolutely a very good question. So our program, as I said, we started 2016. Main intention was to make sure that the program is in line with the industry. So when we wanted to design the program, we reached out to a group of 25 industry partners that we had, small and big companies from different domains, just to name a few: SAP, Microsoft, Yahoo Labs, Samsung, JP Morgan, just to name a few. And we reached out to hiring managers in analytics and data scientists. We asked them, what is a wish list that you have to hire somebody, with a graduate degree in business analytics? Or somebody because terminology is very big. So some people say, okay, what is data science versus business analytics? To me, it's the same, right? So whatever is enabling you to get insight from the data and be able to make it actionable is analytics, and data science is part of the analytics. So they come up with a very big list, and then from the list we went through one by one. We saw, okay, what are the courses, what are the topics that we want to cover, what is it that everybody wants, because we want this to be as applicable to as many domains as possible. So we don't want to narrow it down to a specific domain. And then from there, we started basically creating courses completely from scratch. So this was 2016. The program is 10 credit hours. It can be completed in 1 year, 12 months. Some students, they might want to extend it for another 6 months. That's fine as well. So it can be completed 12 months if you want, or 18 months. It's STEM designated. That is very important. So you have a prestige of being graduated from a college of business with understanding of the business, but at the same time, this is a hardcore STEM program, which is also for international students important because they would be able to get extended OPT after graduation as well, up to 3 years. The program has 10 courses. 8 courses are core courses, which covers the basics of analytics. We call this vanilla analytics. And then if a student wants to specialize in a particular domain, they can take their 2 electives to become part of, specialized in. Like, for example, if somebody wants to become specialized in, let's say, finance domain, they can take, courses in finance that is analytics related, or in marketing analytics. So there are 2 electives and 8 core courses. In terms of the ranking, we have been ranked globally among the top 35 MSBA programs globally, which is great. And we are keep working on this to get it even better. We have been ranked number 12 for value for money, and the way value for money ranking is working is that they see how much tuition fees being paid for a student, and what is the return on investment, what is the job placement for a student, and what is the starting salaries for a student. So by making sure that we are in line with the industry, we have a lot of sort of like internship positions, internship programs going. The capstone program itself is hands-on. So we try to basically create a portfolio project for a student when they're working in the program. So when they go to the interview, they showcase already what they have done, either through the internship or the project. So all of the courses in the program has hands-on project-based assessment. So it's not like you read, you come to the class, give an exam, and you get your A or B, and then you go to the job market and you say, oh, it's completely a different world. So it's not going to be that case for our program. So that's that. In terms of ranking, as I said, various rankings, we are being listed among top 35 programs. In terms of requirements for the program as well, as I said, we're generally looking at the GPA above 3 out of 4, which would be equivalent of what I would say 65, 70%. Some students are asking us if we are accepting 3 years bachelor degrees from India, which is the case. Also, GRE used to be a requirement for the program. We did an analysis and we showed that there is a big correlation between GRE and the success of student in the program. So we have decided to waive that. We rely on other criteria such as the performance of student in their undergraduate, other work experience that they have, and etc. To make admission decisions. So I think, yeah, that's basically the answer to your question.
Definitely is. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out of your schedule to talk to us and for telling us so much about this program. And for our students, if you want to know more about this program at Kent State University, the link is provided right below over here. You can check it out and you can access it and see all that you need to gain from this particular course. Sir, I would like to thank you again on this note for taking your time out. And I think that that would be it, sir. I think these are the questions that I have in my mind right now. And you pretty extensively covered all the details that I required to understand this program in detail.